It's no surprise that lawns cost people money, right? So not only is there an opportunity cost of you've got a big area of land that's not really doing anything, but there are direct costs associated with mowing, mower upkeep, the sprays or irrigation that a lot of people might do for their lawns, all the maintenance and lawn care. So the time lost taking care of this thing. And so there's an immense amount of costs for what? Maybe it looks nice. Maybe you get out once or twice a year to play some lawn games. Maybe not. So there's not much return for an area of land that requires a fair bit. So what if we can take this paradigm of something that costs us wealth and bring it into something that generates wealth? Now, there are people who are amazing troopers out there. They completely overhaul their lawn, turn it into this amazing productive system for biodiversity or food production or both, and they are amazing artists at their work. But I find that most homeowners are not so green thumb adept. Now, there are millions of blogs and videos on how to improve your green thumb, but what if you're looking for a low maintenance system that keeps an area generally clear, reduces cost slightly, but generates wealth with that area that you have? Let's take a look at one of those systems. So here we've got your basic lawn. Not much to it. You got some weeds in there, you got predominantly grasses, and it's all cut fairly short. But as we pan over to this section here, you can see that there are 3 lines that go across the landscape. Now, each one of these rows was planted a variety of food-producing bushes and shrubs. In this final row over here, we've got honeyberries going every so often. This entire center row is black raspberries. And then this row here, we've got a Chicago hardy fig on the end. And then as we continue through it, we've got a gummy berry. And then we've got some bee balm. We've got a gummy berry, some more bee balm, gummy berry. And in between each of these bee balms and gummy berries are asparagus underground that have been planted. Bee balm, asparagus, gummy berry, asparagus, bee balm, asparagus, and all the way down to another end cap of a Chicago hardy fig. That's this row. Now, what happens when you do it in these rows? Well, one, you have to make sure that you're plugging in diversity, because our least diverse group is this solid chunk of black raspberries, but that's okay because black raspberries love growing as patches. So you will find them in nature predominantly overtaking a given area for multiple years at a time. Then over here we've got the honeyberries. Now we could just put honeyberry, 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 honeyberry all the way down the line. All these species are chosen because they are beneath these black walnut trees. And black walnut trees are very aggressive with chemical warfare that they put out through their roots. So there's a chemical called juglone that they put out in their roots that is a chemical herbicide, and it kills any plant that's not in their gang, not in their group, plants that they don't play well with. So things like nightshade family tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, they will all die if they are planted near black walnuts. Apples don't do well, pears don't do well, but things like stone fruits, black raspberries, Concord grapes, which we've got as a perimeter going all the way around, Concord grapes. And then the honeyberries do well, and the gummy berries do well. Now, I could just have a plain row of bushes and mow in between, but here's a strategy for maximizing the space in between. In here, we've planted daylilies. Now, if you drive around this area, we're in Pennsylvania, you will see daylilies are pretty aggressive for what they do. They will ultimately blanket this whole section. And if they start to move into the row, cool. This management style allows people to just mow up, mow back. It's measured to the width of standard mowers, ride mowers, and it's very quick, it's very easy, and you don't need to spend time going around every single bush that you've planted. It's designed to be mowed in these strips. We've cleaned out a nearby chicken coop, so that's why we have this laid down mulch, and you can see the nitrogen from the chicken coop shavings has turned that band of grass a significantly darker shade of green. So we've got this mow style that also promotes biodiversity. Amazing. So we're going to have different plants. We've got chicory growing in here. We've got broadleaf plantain. We've got buttercups. They're blooming right now. We've got what's it called? Queen Anne's lace. So we got a variety of plants. Great. Now, does that mean you now dedicate this entire area to just little weedy hedgerows? Not really, because here's the great thing. Asparagus and bee balm both die back in the winter. So does the daylilies. So that means they can grow for the entire season, have these nicely mowed between rows, let them do their thing, harvest when you want to harvest, and you let the bushes grow in and amongst the stuff. You can come around with trimmers and just like cut around them if you want. You don't have to. Then when the frost comes and winter comes and things die back, you could, if you don't necessarily need a manicured look, leave it. It's great habitat for insects. Or if you do want it to look a little more manicured, you can take the mowers and then once a year you go around those bushes so that your woody bushes are left standing in their nice ordered row and everything else in between is set back. And if you've got asparagus, that's great, because come the following spring, as things start to come up, you can mow down, keep an eye out, and then the moment you see asparagus start to shoot above the ground, stop mowing in between, and you can get your harvests of asparagus off of it, and then let things continue to grow for the rest of the year. The black raspberries will likely never be mowed between. They will form one long, dense cluster, and they'll last for a couple of years like that. And then eventually, as their strength starts to wane, then you can come through and cut them all down, mow them down, start over, and you can either do black raspberries again, or you can replace them with something else. So this is a very low work system that produces an edible harvest. It is ecologically sound, increasing biodiversity across this, what was once just pure lawn. So if we can make more moves like this is a bare minimum move. You could plant a lot more. It'd be a little harder access. You'd need to dedicate more time. But if you want to convert a fair bit of a large amount of space, this is a great management style for a very low amount of work. And if something like poison ivy were to crop up here, it's super easy to see it, bring a shovel out, kill it at the base. If it comes back, hit it again. And it's really easy to keep an eye on this management style. So let's take a look at what happens if you expand this to be a little bit bigger. So I mentioned you could do this on a fair bit of space. What does that look like? Well, let's take a look at approximately 1.5 acres. Here we go. 1.5 acres of land that was at one point in time mowed down, grazed by horses, mowed to take down the weeds, and then we let it go fallow. And that's what allowed all these trees to start establishing, because we didn't care about the weeds anymore. Bushes came up, birds planted mulberry trees for us. It was suddenly a boom of biodiversity and vegetative material. Every single leaf is a solar panel, every single thing capturing carbon, storing it in biomass. Now, when we did that, I mentioned poison ivy. Poison ivy started to take footholds all throughout this field. Now, however, the width of these rows is very narrow. So mow up, mow down across this landscape. The total amount of mowing has been reduced, but the level to which I can monitor the plants in these rows, I get a nice little stroll in, going up and down, walking with a shovel, and taking out weeds that are particularly nefarious. But otherwise, yeah, milkweed will come up in here, great for monarch butterflies. We'll have all sorts of different flowers for the honeybees. Wild pear, one of the first flowers out in the spring, great for the honeybees. Again, the mulberries have just dominated as an amazing early succession plant. We've got white clover in here, and in the midst of all this, we've planted black raspberries. Every couple feet, black raspberries. Got some more flowers and more black raspberries. I planted some yam at the base of that tree. So in and amidst all of this, you can plant your food crops. So I've put in persimmon. I've put in hazelnut. A lot of them are still small. We're early on in the years. You can plant seeds in here. Whenever I eat sweet cherries, I throw my sweet cherry pits back along these rows. Whenever I've got cut branches and limbs, I can put it in these rows. The grass kind of engulfs it, makes it humid, keeps the moisture in, allows fungi to decay that organic matter, and it feeds back into the soil. Some trees like this mulberry, they're not doing so hot. That's okay. We keep the survivors. We strengthen the genetic stock locally. And there's a great guy online, does a lot of great content, Mark Shepard. You see, there's this dead mulberry back here. We'll cross a couple rows, see it a little better. This guy is not contributing to the gene pool. This was a genetic dud. That's great. I didn't pay for it. And, you know, I'm okay to see it gone. Good riddance, as Mark Shepard would say. But we've got other mulberries that are massive and tall and very productive. We've even got honeybees over there under that little roof. So, again, this allows for management at the moderate scale. This is small homestead, large home. Again, this backfield is about 1.5 acres managed like this. And then we've got that lawn area up there managed similarly. Here we've got a honeysuckle bush that, oh gosh, the amount of pollinators all over this bush earlier in the season was tremendous. And that's fine, I'll leave it. If I have like some edible plants starting to grow up around it, then I'll cut it back, then I'll mulch it back, and the system continues on. If I don't like something, I can take it out. If I have something I want to put in, I can do that. So if you've got an area of land that is too large to want to be consistently mowing, and you want it to be productive and working for you, and you want to still keep it manageable, consider this mowed row management. Low work, potential for very high yields, and you can start it even successional. Things with berry bushes, plant in nut trees, plant in fruit trees, and then as the system ages, first couple years you're getting berries, next couple decades you're getting fruit. After that, you've got legacy nut trees that will, oh gosh, be so productive with highly nutritious food on very low area. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. If you think I missed something, if there's a tweak you would make and modify to my system, throw it down in the comments below. This has been Frenchy Powell, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.